So, I was doing my thing, wandering around the boxing landscape, gallivanting through the boxing wilderness via this thing that we call the internet. And I stumbled upon the rankings. And I noticed that the WBO updated theirs a few days ago. And I saw my boy Cinnamon, he's the #1 ranked contender for Terrence Bud Crawford's WBO belt at 168. Then I also saw my other boy, Junto Nakatani. He's ranked #1 in the WBO for Naoya Inoue's belt at super bantamweight 122.
Yeah.
And then I scrolled down to 140, junior welterweight, where Teofimo Lopez has a WBO belt. And I saw the #1 ranked contender as Keyshawn Davis. Did I just say Keyshawn Davis?
Yeah.
And from that, I drew 2 conclusions, right? That means that his return is imminent and he'll probably be fighting at the top of the quarter of 2026. But then more importantly, the other conclusion that I drew, which was number 2, is that Teofimo Lopez is
Hello guys, this is Rolly Romero.
Yo, my name is Nonito Donaire. What's up guys, Designer's Eyes.
Here with @Bob Santos Boxing.
And I rock with Dr. Boxing Talk.
I want to give a quick shout out to Dr. Boxing Talk.
And I want to give a big shout out to Dr. Boxing Talk. Thank you for all the love, thank you for all the support.
You're rocking with Dr. Boxing Talk. Get your daily news from my man right here, the best in the business. Let's get it, baby.
All day, baby.
Amen.
Bam!
If I tell you I'm good, probably you'll say I'm boasting. But if I tell you I'm no good, you know one line.
Yo, what's good, Boxing Talk family? Welcome back to your favorite boxing news channel, Dr. Boxing Talk. We are back for another YouTube video. Banger, man. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. I know what time it is. The doctor's in the house, man. So check this out. Before we get to it, let's go ahead and smack that like button. Let's do it together. Appreciate you. That helps us to keep going and growing on this YouTube platform. Boxing Talk family, BTF rise up. Hey, we have some news in regards to the rankings, particularly the WBO, which is headed by President Gustavo Oliveira. And they have made some updates, that are reflecting their rankings as of September 15th. And this has dropped a couple days ago, I believe on the 25th, if I'm not mistaken, right? So just a few days ago. And they have some updates, that I talked about in the intro. But the one I want to focus on is the WBO rankings at the 140-pound division with Teofimo Lopez. Now, unless you've been living under a rock, you heard that Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson are talking about fighting around January 2026, good Lord willing, and I think that's a fantastic fight. But me, I don't really believe that Teofimo is going to fight anybody that he's been calling out lately. He's been calling out a lot of people, from Terrence Bud Crawford to Jerome Boots Ennis to Brian Norman to Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney, all these other fighters, even Keyshawn Davis, and none of these fights have come to fruition, right? Instead, we got Arnold Barboza. Now, I'm not mad at him fighting Arnold Barboza, because Arnold Barboza was the mandatory. You see what I'm saying? He was the mandatory that was long overdue. So I actually applaud him for that fight. I'm not saying that Arnold Barboza is the highest caliber opposition, but when somebody fights their mandatory, I got to give him love. And that was back in May. And according to the WBO rule book, you have to have a defense within 9 months rotation. And these rules...
They just changed the lineup? That's against the rules.
What rules? Who cares?
You guys care about the rules? No.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot. We don't care about the rules right here. You know what I'm saying? Because there's all types of exceptions and clauses to let you circumvent the rules when they see fit. So we don't really care about the rules. But the point is, what I'm making is that Teofimo has a fight that's coming up and it's going to be soon, whether it's Shakur or somebody else. And if it's not Shakur, if it's not going to be fighting Shakur Stevenson like he's been saying, then he might have to fight Keyshawn Davis. And if you remember, right, before Keyshawn Davis had that episode where he demonstrated a lack of professionalism, to say the least, right? And I was mad at him, but I think we should always give somebody an opportunity to bounce back and redeem themselves. And I think that he should be afforded an opportunity to, apologize and move forward. You know what I'm saying? And I think he does. And I think he will, you see? And let's face it, right? He's not the only person that missed weight. We have Ryan Garcia infamously coming in 3 pounds overweight against Devin Haney. In fact, Keyshawn Davis, before he won the title off of Burincic, his WBO belt, he at 135, before he won that, right, he fought Gustavo Lemos, who came in 6 pounds overweight against him. Now, I'm not saying that makes it okay. I'm just saying that we see these things before. And if somebody makes a mistake, I think that we should afford them the opportunity to apologize and move forward. So I do think that what he did was wrong, especially because he was headlining the event with De Los Santos, and we didn't get to see that fight, and there was a lot of blowback, and he deserves it, but he also deserves another opportunity, in my personal opinion, to redeem himself. So, him putting forth a petition to be ranked #1 at 140, it seems like it went through, and President Gustavo Oliveira has approved it, because he is ranked #1 now, and that pushed Alfredo Santiago back to #2 in the rankings. Now, this is where this is another possibility that comes on, right? Because Alfredo Santiago is ranked number 2, we could always see maybe Alfredo Santiago will fight Keyshawn Davis for an interim belt or something like that, because you know they love the interim titles, right? And I'm not talking about the fighters, I'm talking about the sanctioning bodies for that moolah, that green, and them butters. You know what I'm saying? So I think that that's a possibility as well. But it's also a possibility too that Teofimo Lopez could fight Keyshawn Davis if he doesn't go into the Shakur fight. But like I said, this is just according to how things would move with the rules, if they move accordingly. So don't be surprised if we have none of these fights come through. But like I said, it seems like there's a strong possibility that we will get Teofimo Lopez in a satisfactory matchup, in a high caliber matchup that we want to see, either against Shakur Stevenson or against Keyshawn Davis, if the WBO sees fit. And if not, even if he doesn't fight Shakur Stevenson and he fights somebody else that we weren't anticipating, well, if Keyshawn Davis and Alfredo Santiago fight for an interim belt, well, that means that the winner of that, which is likely to be Keyshawn Davis, all this is hypothetical, but likely to be Keyshawn Davis, then once you have the interim belt, then you better believe that the fight for the full belt, which what Teofimo has, will be not too far from the present. You see what I'm saying? So it wouldn't be not too far from next, I should say. So either way, it seems like Teofimo's days are numbered as far as it goes to him fighting a guy that's a high caliber opposition, whether it comes in the form of Shakur or whether it comes in the form of Keyshawn or something else. You know what I'm saying? I think this is great news, because no disrespect to his opponents, but you know, his last few fights weren't too intriguing from a matchup standpoint. You know, Arnold Barbosa, before that was Steve Claggett, before that was a terrible performance against Jermaine Ortiz. You know, no disrespect to any of those opponents, but compared to the fighters that Teofimo has been calling out, well, they're subpar, relatively speaking, to them, you know. So y'all let me know what y'all think about that. Would you like to see Teofimo versus Keyshawn? Do you even think that Teofimo versus Shakur is going to happen? I'm gonna be honest, man. I'm still not convinced that Shakur versus Teofimo happens. But I will say this too, I'd be a little bit more interested in Teofimo and Keyshawn. You know, I like that matchup better. To me, that's a little bit more intriguing. But I like Teofimo and Shakur as well, man. Y'all let me know which one y'all would prefer. Do you think any of them are going to happen? Do you think he's going to weasel his way up out of this one? And do you like WBO's move of putting Keyshawn Davis at number 1? I appreciate y'all rocking with me as always. Don't forget to smack that like button. But most importantly, remember, with God, we can do anything. Without God, we're nothing. The doctor's out. Peace.